cancer. So she is going to share her testimony, as well as she is going to give us some tips on healthy eating. So this is actually going to be good. Miss Vicky, you go ahead and take it away.
Hi, everyone. Vicky Johnson here. What I'll start out by is telling you I'm triple negative breast cancer survivor. Triple negative is a type of breast cancer that's very aggressive, and it's harder to treat. I got cancer the week of my birthday 9 years ago. So I've been fighting for 9 years. And I remember the first time I went into the doctor's office, I was so nervous, and my husband was making me laugh. And then I remember the oncologist came in, and he kind of looked at us like, we were crazy, because he knew how serious it was. And then that kind of made me a little nervous, because I realized, oh my God, I've got the worst kind of cancer. And even this calm doctor is looking very concerned. But here I am 9 years later, and I truly adore him, because he never rushed me. So I always tell everyone, get a doctor that you like, and get a doctor who will listen to you, and someone who will, take time with you. I know the first time you go to his office, he will, he puts you at the end of the day, and he calls those long appointments, because he will answer every single question that you come in there with. So that's also important, is having someone who will listen. And if you feel that you don't have a doctor that listens, then you switch doctors. And again, like I said, I was triple negative, and it's 9 years. And I remember all the doctors, I went to all these appointments, and they all kept saying happy birthday. And I thought, what kind of birthday is this? It was a horrible time. But now, 9 years later, I use my birthday as, that's when I get my mammogram or schedule my mammogram. So now I celebrate my birthday as 1 year cancer-free, 2 year cancer-free. And with that, I decided, to find other African-American women who had survived triple negative, because everything I read was saying that, it's a death sentence. You don't have a chance. And along with my healthy eating, what I found was, I found this facialist who did organic facials, because I totally went organic with my food, with my eating. And she goes, well, now, why did you look for me? And I was like, well, I'm a breast cancer survivor, and I'm trying to be clean and get all the toxins out of my body. And she kind of stopped, and she goes, I'm 10 years cancer free, and I was triple negative. And I was like, oh my God, what did you do? And she let me know that she was stage 4 metastatic breast cancer. And 10 years later, she was still there. And we sat down and we talked. And yeah. And I mean, that's who I was looking for. And you think that there's nothing you can do other than what the doctors tell you. And I'm here to say, I believe you should do everything. Look at cancer like it's like the wildfires in California. There is something in your body, and it's trying to take you down. And you're going to put everything in your body that you can to stop it. So I did what my oncologist said. I did the lumpectomy. I did chemo. I did radiation. But I also changed the stress level. I changed my diet. And then what the facialist said, what she changed was, she said she was really big at the time, because overweight and obesity cancer loves it. So we've got to get that in check. She stopped eating white rice, because white rice increases your insulin levels, and cancer loves that. It increases your insulin levels very high and very fast. And cancer loves sugar. So we have to kind of get that in check. She started exercising. She became a nurse because of it, because she wanted to know what things she could do, as far as her diet. And then she opened up this salon that does organic facials, and she makes the products herself. So that's one little story I can tell you. And I always say, don't wait until it's too late. You can start eating better. You can start eating healthy. You can add in all those cancer fighting foods. There are actual institutes that are out there that study how the food affects cancer. And there's some people who want to just do that and not the other. I truly believe in doing everything we can. Let's say you don't believe the foods are going to help. Well, I guarantee you eating those healthy foods are going to give you energy to fight what you're going through with chemo, with whatever you're going through. And I'm going to give you the story of my mom, who just passed away about a month ago of cancer. She actually fought cancer, 5 different kinds, over a period of 20 years. She didn't do any of the healthy eating. She didn't do it. She would only do what the doctor said. And I tell this story because I want you to do everything you can. And we all know we're going to go one day, but know that you did everything you could to stay as long as you wanted. And my mom, 2 weeks before she died, she started asking me what were the cancer fighting foods. Now, mind you, for 10 years, 9 years since I was diagnosed, I had been trying to get her to do the foods and giving her turmeric and trying to get her to drink the green tea, and she wasn't having it. She wasn't listening. And in the end, she wanted those things, but it was too late because the cancer was all through her body and her organs had begun shutting down. So don't wait. Do everything you can while you can do it. And it'll give you energy. The foods, I mean, don't do the poppycock things. People will send you all kind of crazy stuff. Anything that I do that I recommend to someone, it's from reliable sources. I've got, let's see, from City of Hope, I did research. I was part of one of their research studies. That came from Army of Women. Army of Women, they do research studies all over the United States. So I've done several for them because what I felt was if I'm going to go out with cancer, I'm going to try to help someone else survive it. So I allowed them to have all my medical records so that they can help others. And then on the note of mammograms, what I want to say is my sister and I both were diagnosed with breast cancer, same type, about a year apart from each other. We found those lumps ourselves. So don't rely only on the mammogram. Get your mammogram, get it on your birthday or schedule it on your birthday. But know that between the mammograms, that's 12 months that a lump could grow. So find it yourself. You know your body better than anyone else. And then, as I believe it was Priscilla said, don't let them tell you no. Find someone who will tell you, yes, I will do this for you. I remember back in my 30s, I was afraid that I might get it because my dad's sister got it. And all the doctors kept telling me, well, that's not on your mom's side, so it doesn't matter. But I'm looking at my mom, and at that point, she had already fought off like 3 different kinds of cancer. And so I went to doctors until I found someone who gave me that mammogram. I didn't have it, but then when I did finally have it, they had that original mammogram to compare to the current one. And that's another thing, they'll compare your mammograms and they can see the progression and what's going on with your breast. So,
what age were you
when I was diagnosed? About, let's see. I was in my 40s. So no, it wasn't there before that, but they can use your old mammograms to compare them to see the progression of what's going on with your body. So then moving on, I'll go on to say, don't listen to anyone who has not gone through this. There are so many people who will tell you, don't do the chemo or don't do the radiation. And the story I'll tell you on that is my mother's brother-in-law, when we respected him in the family, but when he found out my mom had cancer, he's very educated. He said, don't do the chemo. The masterminds don't know what they're talking about. And thank God my mother, she went ahead and did it. And as I said, she lasted 20 years fighting cancer. And I'll tell you this, he ended up with cancer. And the first thing he did was he got his chemo. Because when you're faced with it, it's different from someone on the outside looking in. So only listen to your healthcare professionals and people who've gone through it and the experts. Because there's so many people who will make you afraid of of the chemo and the radiation. And I'm here 9 years later, and I didn't even get sick from the chemo. And it was the type I got. My sister got a different kind, and she did get a little sick, but it wasn't anything unbearable. It was nothing she couldn't handle. So, and they can always adjust it. You can start your chemo, and you can, you know, if it makes you sick, there's medicines they can give you. So don't be afraid of something that you haven't tried. And he did pass away of cancer, but that chemo did give him more time, because by the time he found his, he had progressed pretty far along. So with all the research and studies that I participated in, they've given me so much information. I actually created a file, and I share it with people about the foods and the different things I do. So one of the main things that I do is I take an aspirin every day. Don't start taking them unless your doctor says it's okay. I had to wait until I was finished with everything, but I also, in my link, there's been research that shows that a daily aspirin, not Tylenol, just normal aspirin, can reduce cancer risk. And I include that information. And my oncologist, actually, he kind of laughs at some of the crazy things I bring in, but that was one of the things. He goes, yes, take that aspirin every day. Also, another thing I do is turmeric. It has to be mixed with black pepper. You can add it to food, but turmeric, it's not something that goes with everything. So I take the pills, I add it when I can, like it goes fine in chili and stuff, but in other things, it makes it taste like dirt. So I do take a supplement. I do try to make sure my supplements are as clean as possible, organic whenever possible, non-GMO if I can't get organic supplements. And this, I got this from Dr. Oz. Now, a lot of people feel like he's fluff, and I do research things after I hear them. I try to make sure other medical professionals and trusted sources are saying the same things. They believe that lima beans cut off the supply to cancer and lowers your risk. And I believe a lot of the beans do. And what it is about the beans, it's the fiber in them. The fiber helps pull the toxins and helps you become regular. You want to make sure you stay regular, drink a lot of water. One of the chemotherapies my mom took, they told her to drink a lot of water. We actually looked that up as far as cancer and water consumption. And a lot of people who end up with cancer, they don't drink a lot of water. And I can attest to the fact that is my mom. She would not drink more than like a glass of water a day. And even with her she ended up passing away from lymphoma. And the chemo she was on, they said, you absolutely have to drink a lot of water. And she did not. She would not drink more than that glass of water a day. So, eat your lima beans. Lima beans specifically, they say, is great for breast cancer. And then another thing and like I said, these are coming from City of Hope and other trusted sources that, companies that I did research work for. So another one is parsley. It says particularly that parsley is good for ovarian cancer. I make a drink of parsley, water, ginger, lemon, and sometimes I throw an apple in. It's all organic because if you decide you're going to drink these drinks every day, you don't want to put in extra bad into your body. So make sure they're organic. And I've done parsley, I've done dandelion greens. Those are also good for you. And what I want you to do is, there's so many foods out there that you and me and a lot of us have never even heard of. I never even knew people ate dandelion greens. But when I found out that it's pretty much the rainbow and the greens, those things are good for cancer, I've added those in. And then with adding those in, it's made me not want as much of the things that are bad, the sweets. I'm not saying I've completely cut off of them. I wish I could, but I've lowered the amounts that I eat, because I know that when I put that in my body, cancer is like, yes, that's what I want. And then also there's some talk about lemons, and that's why I added the lemon to my drink. And I've got a link of that also. And I actually freeze my lemons because they kept going bad before I could use them. And I looked that up, and it actually says that they actually keep some of their great fighting properties even frozen. And it says also that there are compounds in lemons and other fruits that definitely are great for cancer. I believe there's like a whole other list of antioxidants. So look up the antioxidants, and it will tell you which superfoods there are. I'll give you some of them. Blueberries, especially for breast cancer. Cinnamon. You can actually add cinnamon to like a roasted chicken, and it'll give it a different taste. And you think cinnamon is sweet, but it isn't. It's sweet because most people put cinnamon with sugar. So get rid of the sugar and add it to your chicken. I'm a vegetarian, so I don't eat chicken, but I've done that for my family. But I also take a cinnamon supplement because it's, some people will tell you don't take supplements, and I've had people tell me that. But the supplement I take, there's nothing in it except cinnamon. So when you're looking at wholesome, pure, organic foods, what could be wrong with it unless you have an allergy to it? Also, mushrooms, they've been shown to slow the growth of some types of cancers. And this is also from City of Hope. The bigger the mushroom, the more cancer fighting properties they have. I think I said blueberries. Also, I could talk for hours on supplements because there were so many things going on in my body. The way I look at it is you are a science project, and you have to figure out what's going on in your body. So for me, I was lacking vitamin D, which is very important in fighting disease and staying healthy. I was working graveyard, which there's a direct link to breast cancer and working graveyard. So I've since quit that job. I was deficient in vitamin D. And I actually read that in a magazine, and I think Dr. Oz said that. And then I found out that I was deficient in that. So I do take vitamin D every day. I try to make sure I sit in the sun because you get vitamin D from the sun, and it will make you feel better, the sun, and it'll make you sleep better. I was anemic. Another thing about being anemic is if you're anemic and you're low in iron, you don't have the white blood cells that you need to fight cancer. So I had to start taking iron. And I believe my oncologist, he was a little concerned because he kept trying to figure out, well, why am I anemic? I'm to the point where I don't have a period anymore. But I am still at this age anemic. So I still take that iron. There's so many side effects with it, though, with the constipation. It's awful. I hate it. But I figured out other things to take to alleviate that because you don't want to be anemic when you're fighting a disease. And let's see what else. There are other things you can get in the supplement form are, I think I said turmeric. I do the aspirin again. Check with your doctor. Resveratrol. There is a supplement of that. That is found in like dark grapes, and it's better you can just eat them. I know a lot of people want to start juicing. I've read this somewhere. It said Mother Nature made the fruits sweet so you'd get the fiber. So don't juice them in a way that you're getting rid of the pulp. I have a Vitamix. I throw everything in that Vitamix, and that's if I must juice, that's how I do it. So sometimes I have made grape juice to get the resveratrol, but I throw the whole grape in. I don't get rid of the skin. The only thing I would say is okay to juice is maybe a beet. Beets are really good in cancer fighting. There's a restaurant, I believe it's on Ventura, it's vegan, and they have a beet lemonade. Beets are really good for cancer fighting, and I try to figure out how to get beets in a lot of different dishes. So if you juice a beet and then you throw in like lemon, it's really good. And if you look at how you take a step outside of yourself and see how you feel, those beets really do give you energy. And a lot of like bodybuilders and people who work out, that's something that they eat because they want, and you'll see beet shots at Whole Foods. So if you don't feel like making it yourself, because it is very messy, then just grab the little organic beet shots that they have. And then maitake mushroom, you can actually get that in pill form. I also buy mushrooms. I put mushrooms in almost anything that I can think of. And then I just want everyone out there who's fighting it right now, just know that there's a lot of support for you. One thing I started doing was walking. I mean, I always was a crazy person who worked out like a lot, like to where I've got injuries. I started this walking thing. It's by Leslie Sansone. I get no money from this. I just want to, for people who aren't used to exercising, because I feel like when you're going through cancer, people think you're just going to jump up and start doing like crazy aerobics. You're kind of going through a lot. You have a lot on your plate. The walking videos, you can either buy them or you can, she's actually put them on YouTube for free, some of them. And I actually end up doing the free ones, even though I have the videos here. It's just easier to pull them up on YouTube. And in 15 minutes, you can walk a mile. We can all walk 15 minutes in place. You just do it in your house. And the reason she sells the DVDs and the little app thing is some people get bored with seeing the same walk every day, but it's a way of getting like that exercise in, getting support in an affordable way. Because if you do YouTube, it's free. And I don't usually endorse people, but the reason I love Leslie is she is the most giving, wonderful person, and she truly wants you to be healthy and happy. And when I went and did that video for her, we talked about the cancer, and we talked about how when I'm doing that walk, because it's slow enough where I can think about things, I'm envisioning that oxygen that's going into my body that cancer hates. So know that when you exercise, you're fighting the cancer. Cancer hates it when you exercise. And then finally, I'll just give you some free resources that I use where I got a lot of information from as well. And you can also type in free cancer magazines. One of them I just picked up in my oncologist's office. It was called Cure. And they actually sent me those magazines for 3 years for free. And after a few years, you know, they'll ask you, do you still want to get it? You can still get it. You just have to let them know. I got a lot of information out of Cure magazine. The one thing I noticed is that like my sister and I were trying to figure out how we ended up with cancer when our mother didn't have it. Well, I put a post on Facebook and all of a sudden, a lot of girls I grew up with had it. So we don't know what it's from, but I'm from Ohio. It could have been from the water. We had steel mills in Ohio. We didn't buy bottled water, but there's something going on in that neighborhood that all of my friends, a lot of them from childhood, ended up with breast cancer. There's also, for free magazines, there's Conquer magazine, and they'll give, I believe it's an e-magazine, but just type in free cancer magazines and you'll get a lot of information. And then Army of Women, they have given me so much information. You go to armyofwomen.com, sign up with your email. They will give you an abundance of information. I got so much information from them. And that's how I got in touch with all these different research studies across the United States. And my sister and I both have participated in those. So I believe that's it. I don't want to take up all the time. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask.